Today we have a question from Discord. So if you don't know, I have a Discord server where you can pop in and you can just go to I need coaching and write your questions like this. And if you just need to be acknowledged and witnessed, there is also this room for witnessing. But anyway, today's coaching is related to this question. Am I stupid? So, since I was 12, I tend to forget things, or I couldn't catch what people say, mostly verbal instructions. Example 1. Teacher, please take the pen in front of the table. I'll question it back. Do you mean the pen at the front side of the table? Or, the pen on the chair which is in front of the table? There's a lot of pens that fit your statement. So, I'll definitely 100% get the wrong one if the instruction is not clear, so I lack confidence about myself. And then, oh no, I'm definitely gonna be wrong if I make my own decision. I can't make my own decision. So, example number 2. I tend to forget a lot of things, such as leaving my water bottle at my company, forgetting to return the key after closing company's door. And these are mistakes people don't do. Now I have to write everything in a note, then I follow every steps in that note when I do everything. And no one likes a person with a lack of confidence and extreme stupidity, but there's weird that these things only happen like in school and company. And I don't forget things when I'm doing my own stuff alone. So that might be the reason I'm stupid. When I'm with crowds only in specific environment. I'm not going to change much just to cooperate with others. Doesn't mean I'll always be like that antisocial, abnormal weirdo. So, let's answer the core question at hand, which is like, am I stupid, right? So, thankfully, in this world, there is a very easy way to actually solve this problem, right? You just take a intelligence test. And it'll let you know, and there's nothing wrong with having a low intelligence, right? Like some people, it definitely there are people who really have a learning disability, so it takes time for them to, it takes more time than other people for them to learn information and retain it inside of their brain. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're kind of like doomed, because here I'll tell you a story about one of Buddha's students. So one of Buddha's students is a Junda, and he was the village idiot, and he was the stupidest of them all. Buddha was a great communicator and a great teacher, but no matter how many times Buddha tried to teach him, he couldn't get Junda to understand anything. And Buddha was a busy person and he had other people to attend to, so he couldn't just dedicate time to Junda. So he asked, right, all of his disciples to be like, hey, please be kind to Junda, and then please dedicate a lot of your time to helping him understand these things. But then not everybody has the infinite patience of Buddha, so they kind of got fed up with his stupidity and then just started leaving him alone, right? And then Junda was all alone and he was really sad, and then Buddha was like tried to meet him at his level, right? So Buddha asked Junda, hey Junda, so what do you normally do? I'm like, well, I'm a servant, so I clean a lot. And then Buddha was like, are you good at cleaning? It's like, oh, Junda was like, yes sir, I've been cleaning all my life, I'm really good at cleaning. And then Buddha was able to then catch on to it, okay? So Junda, I want you to, every time you clean now, okay, I want you to just sing something. And just sing that I'm wiping and wiping, and I'm wiping and wiping, and I'm wiping and wiping my heart. Something along those lines, okay? And then the more I wipe, the cleaner things become, and the more I clean my heart, the cleaner my heart becomes. And then so Junda didn't understand it. But he was like, okay, well, if you want me to sing it, I'll sing it. And then so basically, from that moment on, every time he cleaned like other people's houses, every time he cleaned things, he sang this song. And then one moment, even he was able to become to an awakening. And this story is to illustrate that everyone can be happy, and that includes everyone, like even people with low intelligence, right? So, suppose you are actually of low intelligence, and suppose you are actually stupid. That doesn't really mean anything about your ability to be happy. You can be happy even when you are stupid. But the thing is, right now, you don't know if you're stupid or not. And I'm saying there's a test you can take wherever you are to determine whether you are on the lower end of the intelligence or not. But my hunch is that you're not necessarily stupid. My hunch is primarily three things I want to talk about with this question. Number one, you may not be a kind of a auditory focused person. We tend to have preferred senses, right? So, my wife is a very visual person. She has a very good eye for catching and noticing the details. That's what makes her a really good graphic designer. That's what makes her a great Pilates educator. Because why? She can tell when your posture is off, even just a little bit. She'll pick this up and she'll be like, don't raise your shoulder. And then I would be like, oh crap, I didn't even realize I was raising my shoulder, right? It's because she has this really keen eye for things, which means she's a visual person, right? At the same time, I am a very auditory kind of a focused person, right? So when I listen to a song, I can divide all the tracks and I can kind of isolate every track. And so my wife and we would be discussing the same song, and then I would be like, oh, in that song, there's this part that goes like, and then my wife was like, what? And which is mind-blowing to me because she listens to that song every day. So I'm like, no, like there's a part. And my wife was like, no, there isn't. And then turns out, my wife only listens to the melody and nothing in the background. So when I point it out to her, she's like, okay, I guess there is that part, right? So just like that, people have different preferred submodalities. And you seem to have a problem with verbal instructions. So, number one, it seems that you may not be that auditory focused. Moreover, there is a special kind of sense called digital thinking, which is basically the ability to make logic things make sense in your brain, right? So this is a trait that is commonly seen in autistic people, but it has to make sense for them, right? For them, the ability to kind of understand implied things, understand things by making kind of like implicit connections to things. These things are largely missing in strong digital thinkers. So, you may be the combination of a perfectly working brain, but it's just that you are lower on the auditory side and you are higher on the digital side. So, that's what explains the teacher situation, right? And that's what explained the forgetting the verbal instructions part. So that's the first thing I want to kind of point out, that it might be a feature of your brain and not necessarily a bug. And the second point I want to talk about is this. You and nobody is really immune to making mistakes. I make mistakes too. I send the wrong email to wrong people. I say the wrong things. I say some wrong words. And even when I'm coaching, right? Sometimes I'm late to my sessions, and so I understand I'm not a perfect person. Moreover, I understand that because nobody is really perfect, I can give myself grace when I fuck up, right? But it seems that you have a fairly high standard of yourself, which is why these things tend to stand out a lot and make you feel really, really bad. But you, and including everyone else, nobody is immune to sometimes occasionally fucking up, sometimes occasionally forgetting about things. It's just what happens in life. So, I want you to try and understand that making mistakes, again, forgetting things, are a feature, not necessarily a bug. The third point I want to tell you might be the most important one. And it has to do with this part. My hunch is that when these things happen, right, in your life, in your formative years, you are very harshly criticized for this. And there was nobody there to kind of take your side. Human brains have this strange tendency to, well, not strange, but human brains have an animal tendency to feel small when confronted with the mass. And you are not with the mass. When you're at odds with the mass, when you are at odds with, in general, right? When you're at odds with the authority, something stronger than you, you tend to cower, right? But I'm talking about a specific form of power called mass. Like many people participating in one thing and you being alone. So, suppose you're at work, right? I'm from an Asian country. So in Asian countries, homogeneity and solidarity in really trivial things is really important. So when we go out to lunch, typically in work settings, you unite the menu. There's just like no individualism here, right? And so in America, it's so common for you to go out to lunch and then order something that you like, right? Okay. But when you take the same menu, go to Korea, and all the other people are gonna have, I don't know, pasta for lunch. And then you order salad. Now, what's gonna happen is they're gonna like start throwing jabs at you, right? Not because it's like bad or whatever, but because it's like so out of the blue and so unordinary that one would order for oneself instead of like just conforming to everybody else, right? So now at this point, when you order it, you're like, well, it's the same salad I've been ordering all the time. And you won't really feel weird about it. But then the first person says, wow, Billy, so you must really love salad. And you're like, why? It's like, oh, it's just that, you know, everybody else is having pasta and you're kind of standing out. You're like, no, I'm gonna have salad, and you know, that takes guts, and you know, you must really have a strong preference. So so this person's kind of like, I don't know, are they like passive aggressive thing me? I don't know. I'm like, no, it's just that, I mean, I like salad, but I wouldn't say it's like the favorite thing. I just feel like salad today. And then the second person starts chiming in, right? It's like, no, but everybody else is ordering the same thing, but we like other things too, but it's just that we, you know, like to conform. But you're not doing that, and like, I guess that's the younger people working these days. Oh god, this conversation, like, this hypothetical conversation is giving me like PTSD. But anyway, then you're like, oh, what the fuck, right? And then now, like, the third person says something, but then now the rest of the table is just looking at you, and then they're not necessarily saying anything, right? But then by the end of the lunch, and like, you're looking at your salad, and you're gonna feel really icky, like you did something wrong. And that is the power of the kind of a mass, right? So, why this is important is, both work and both school, right? These are environments with a lot of other people. And when you make mistakes, right? So, like, water bottle leaving in your company, it's a really trivial mistake, right? But everybody in the office is just like quiet and then going on about their day, and then like suppose your boss comes in. It's like, hey, you left your water bottle here yesterday, right? I got a note from the janitor about that. So, why? Like, do you not? I don't know. Don't you want to drink when you're commuting? How can you leave that kind of stuff here? And then you were like, oh, sorry. Well, I didn't know. And then now you notice that's a really weird thing to kind of like note, right? Like, I mean, I'm a human. Like, sometimes I forget stuff. But then now, everyone is kind of like compliant in their silence. And that implicitly makes the argument for this boss like really strong, right? So in that exact situation, there's nobody really being on your side and be like, "Oh, boss, you're too harsh." Like, people leave stuff all the time. Like, you left your umbrella here the other day. And then the boss can be like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And then now you can be like, "Oh, all right." Right? So, basically, in these situations, right? Please take the pen in front of the table and like forgetting about things. When you don't understand the direction and the teacher gets upset with you, right? If there's another teacher in the room being like, well, taking your side and being like, hey, but like, his point, he has a point, because there's a lot of other pens, so like, it's okay, it's okay. The teacher meant this, but then it's okay. It's not a problem. You can just go back to your desk. And suppose another teacher did that. I don't think like well, you won't really have the same kind of relationship with these things, because why? That shame that comes from being unwitnessed, that won't take play. So these are classic cases of unresolved like shaming witnesses having an influence on your life. But in your life, right, there's no authority figure, there's no like place where you have to be for your life. You're just by yourself enjoying the things that you do. So there's nothing really to forget, because there's nobody to really tell you that you forget. There's nothing that really makes you notice that you forgot, right? So when you're in these environments where you didn't get the proper support that you needed, proper emotional support that you needed, that is what may be making you feel stupid, instead of the cold hard truth that you are stupid. Nobody can really say that you are or not by just judged on these things. But like, you're bilingual because I know where you're from. Stupid people like really don't tend to be like this well written and communicative in another language. So I would say it's less about you being stupid, but it's more of you having a very high standard for yourself, because when you don't have that high standard and you are too relaxed, chances are you would have been criticized a lot and you would have been shamed a lot. So I hope that gives you some things to explore. So basically, you have to be your unshaming witness, and we can be here in our Discord server. There's a lot of coaches there. We can be your collective unshaming witnesses to let you know that you're not in the wrong and you're not stupid. If you want to, if you're watching this video and you want to learn more about shame and how it interacts with your lifelong experience, I have a book called The Shame Formula. It used to be Own Your Cringe. So it's available on my website. There's a free version of it. It's like a excerpt of that book, and the full version is available as a Kindle book on Amazon. And I think you can also order it hard copy. I'm not completely sure. It's been a long time since I wrote that book. But anyway, I hope this answers your question. And remember that you can ask anything on my Discord server. Pop in and say hello. Go to the I Need Coaching section and then ask me a question. And if it's simple, I'll write you right there. And if it's long like this, then I will make you a video. So enjoy. Oh, and the captions I moved because I got feedback from a viewer saying that the location of the captions tends to kind of collide with YouTube's default caption location. I hope this. I don't know. I don't think this is that like legible, but I don't know. We'll try some more things as we go along. Let me know what you think about this too. Okay, bye.